Hello, everyone. Welcome to Know Before You Go, a broadcast briefing powered by JSA. I'm Candace, Sipos, your host today. I'm EVP of Account Management at JSA. Very excited to bring you this edition of Know Before You Go, which is the show that covers everything attendees should have on their radar, from insider talking points to conference logistics and everything in between before attending the next big industry event. And the next big industry event that we are very excited to be talking about today is the inaugural PTCDC, brand new event taking place in just a few weeks, September 5th through 6th in Washington, D.C., as the name states. So we're very excited to dive into this with none other than Pacific Telecommunications Council CEO Brian Moon and PTC President and Chairman Bill Barney. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi, Candace. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So as I mentioned, PTCDC is an all-new conference organized, of course, by the very well-known in our industry, Pacific Telecommunications Council. So Brian, as CEO, can you just jump in on a little bit of a brief overview on what drove PTC to develop this new conference, why now, and then also why DC?
Yeah, well, as they say, first, we're certainly not in Hawaii anymore. We will be in the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., which is going to be a change of scenery for our community. But to provide an overview of the event, it's actually twofold. First is PTC as a nonprofit member-driven organization. One of our primary goals in any activity we do is how do we bring the industry together? How do we bring our members together? To have thought-provoking conversations, focusing on real world conversations and topics that are going on, and what is really driving the industry forward. And what preempted this, starting from PTC 24, the annual conference in January, is certainly the focus on government and what's going on with policy and regulators in our industry. And so with the model that we have, and to focus on continuing to bring value to our members and continue to drive those conversations, the idea of the PTCDC conference came about, a new mid-year seminar, because the annual conference happens in January. What can we do in the middle of the year to continue to drive those conversations and then continue on the following January? And so that was the premise of the event. And what we're trying to do is to create a platform where government, policymakers, private equity, regulators, our industry, our members to come together to have those conversations on the key issues that are going to impact the industry moving forward. And to say that there's a lot going on is an understatement. It may not be headline news, but certainly there's a lot going on in the Pacific as well. And so that's the opportunity for us, is how do we bring not only our members together, but the industry with some really, really key folks, not only from the industry, but also government officials, it looks incredible at this point on who we've been able to gather.
Yeah, absolutely. We're so excited to see the agenda unfold. And I'm personally very excited to attend this event in just a few short weeks. So maybe, Bill, you could jump in on that agenda, some highlights from it, and what you hope attendees will walk away with from the event.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is combine, as Brian said, and this has actually been a tradition of PTC, and we've morphed. I've got a few years on Brian. I've been around the place for about almost 25, 30 years dealing with PTC. And so in our early years, we were very much a place where the chairman of the FCC could be seen in Hawaii, talking, or the regulators from China or Japan. And we really want to get back to our roots a little bit. And part of that's also just the way the world is going. The governments are now re-engaging in our industry. And obviously with artificial intelligence, everyone's reading about the importance of regulation and how that actually rolls out around the world. As far as the agenda goes, I mean, I think we've got a terrific lead speaker, two lead speakers. The first one is a guy named Nathaniel Fick, he's the ambassador for cybersecurity, but brings a great background in that he was actually in the private sector for many years. He was in the military, and now he's actually leading this new wing of the U.S. government that's really looking at how do they participate in infrastructure, how do they make sure that the right infrastructure is built around the world. And then he's followed very quickly by a guy named Mark Gansey, who is one of the biggest investors in digital infrastructure today on the planet. And so you'll get to hear his perspective. He's one of the great leaders. He really focused a lot of his early career on the tower industry, and now he's big into data centers and fiber, and a great player. And then what we do is we jump to a series of groups of, and I would say they're groups of 5 to 8 executives, and they're typically CEOs from the various industries that'll talk about the issues that are raised by these two. And the first 2 speeches are going to be fireside chats, and then there'll be these 2 essentially groups that come out and actually talk and debate the issues among themselves. So that's going to be the main portion of the beginning of the agenda. And then we're going to spend a bit of time on artificial intelligence and where we see that going, and then on the emerging markets and what we call the traditional issue that the government has been very, very focused on, which is the digital divide, which is, how do we make sure that a lot of this technology that we generate out of the United States, make sure it gets into the hands of some of the poorer people around the world, and make sure that we are able to educate the entire population around the world, and trying to work on some of those bigger issues, similar as what you'd see at a Davos or one of those conferences, but really focused on digital infrastructure and how do we make that happen. And then finally, we finish up on the second day with a chance for everyone to network, because one of the biggest things about PTC is the fact that people go to the PTC to have meetings, to collaborate with their peers and spend time with them. And then finally, we'll finish up with Vince Cerf and Eli Noem, 2 of the great leaders of the last 20 years. Vince Cerf was essentially the designer of the internet protocol, and one of the top leaders in the industry. He comes from Google. And then Eli is a professor at Columbia University. Both of them are very, very focused on the directions on AI in a very positive way. And they're going to get some really good insights as to what we can think about with artificial intelligence as we start looking out the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So it's a pretty amazing agenda. It hits a lot of the key topics. And it's going to be a fun ride for a day and a half. And I think for people that are coming, it's going to be a great chance for them to see some of the top executives in the space, but also some of the great government officials that are starting to shape policy around the future.
Yeah, excellent. This conversation is making me even more excited to attend the event. I'm making some mental notes here for which sessions to definitely check out. So it sounds like there's quite a few of them. You're hitting AI, you're hitting emerging markets, you're, of course, government behind, a common thread throughout the event. So really, really excited about that. And you and Bill, you had mentioned some networking opportunities. So Brian, maybe you could kind of jump on that and let folks know any opportunities that they should have on their radar.
Yeah, absolutely. As Bill mentioned, one of the key activities that PTC is always known for, especially at the annual conference, is the amount of networking and engagement that attendees, speakers can have with each other. And so we wanted to keep that going and that tradition going at PTCDC. And so after the first day's sessions on Thursday, there will be an opening reception that is open to all attendees and speakers. And so there's an opportunity for additional engagement after speakers are done with their sessions, to be able to network and speak with them after the sessions take place the first day. One of the other exciting activities we're really happy to put together on Friday morning is an executive networking breakfast. And what we wanted to do in this closed door session is several of the speakers and other executives that are confirmed to attend are going to be leading table discussions for an hour. And the idea of the program, I don't like to always call it speed networking, but it's a sort of a speed networking session broken up into 2 half hours. But several of the speakers and other VIP guests will be leading table discussions with attendees who will be able to sign up ahead of time to meet with them. And so they'll have assigned table numbers to be able to have that dialogue with our speakers and key attendees. And so that's the executive networking breakfast taking place Friday morning. We also have a dedicated members lounge. We have a great community of members at PTC. And so we wanted to also provide them private space if they wanted to hold those meetings. So a members lounge will also be available. And then we have the mobile app, which is available now for anyone who has attended, and that is live. And whether you're a member of PTC or not, anyone who has agreed to opt in can start networking and communicating with each other. And so we have that tech tool available with the mobile app. And then throughout the day and a half, we'll have numerous networking breaks, coffee breaks, meals for additional engagement opportunities.
Perfect. We would expect no less from the team behind them. Our one of our industry's top events, of course, to have so many amazing networking opportunities and such a well thought out agenda. So thank you for sharing all of that. And then Bill, maybe we can pass it back over to you for you to share your top 3 tips for attendees to get the most out of this inaugural conference.
Sure. I think the important thing is come there with an intention to actually learn, but actually to engage. So our conference is not only, the great thing about the conference and what Brian's talking about with these tables on the second day is you really can actually, if you've got questions on your mind about what's going on with AI, what's going on with the U.S. government policies on various things, we're going to have those people there sitting in the room, and you can sit down and actually ask those questions. So I think, come prepared to engage in the conference. And it's, you can obviously sit there and listen the whole time you're there. But if you've actually got things that are on your mind that you want to talk about, this is a great conference where you can actually engage. The second thing I would say is that is really understand. We'll send out the agenda, and the more you've studied it, there's a lot going on. I think that we're trying to give the 101 course on a lot of these things, but you'll also get the 202 and the 303. Typically, when you talk to Vince Cerf, it's a good thing to if you've got a chance, read some of his stuff from the past few months, because he's way out there and you can really get some really good insight and learn a lot. But sometimes it's good to sort of be a little bit up the curve before you get there. And then the third thing is just come with enthusiasm. The one thing we love about our members is they always come with energy, and these conferences have always been energetic. We find that we feed off of each other, and we all typically, I leave Hawaii fulfilled and exhausted from being around a lot of people with a lot of energy. And so that's what we asked our folks to bring, and come and have some fun with us in DC. It's a day and a half of engagement to really get into the issues.
Excellent. I love that word, engage. I know I'm excited to engage during this event. And as you said, coming from the massive cornerstone of our digital infrastructure industry, the PTC event every year in Hawaii, we're expecting great things out of this event. And I personally am so excited to kind of get in on the ground floor of this inaugural event and see it from the very beginning, as I'm sure it continues to grow and develop over the years. So thank you both so much. Is there anything, maybe Brian, is there anything that you want, any last words about the event that you want to share?
Yeah, just to add on to what Bill said, we have a really, really exciting agenda. We have an all-star lineup of government and industry leaders and educators, like Bill mentioned. And what better opportunity in an intimate, exclusive environment to be able to have FaceTime with them? I think that's really, really key in terms of education and networking and engagement again. So we're looking forward to seeing everyone in Washington, D.C.
Very well said. Anything else on your side, Bill?
No, I think we're really excited for this first trip into Washington, and I think this is going to be a terrific event, and I hope that we're bringing together some folks for the first time, and I think they're all going to find that they have a lot in common, and there's a lot of things that everyone can work on together, and hopefully we'll leave with some good ideas as an industry on how to approach the next decade. So I think it's going to be a great conference, and I think everyone should come with the view that they're going to walk away hopefully a little smarter and a little bit more connected than they were when they before they got there.
I'm always looking to be smarter and more connected. So that's a good way of viewing it. So thank you guys both for sharing your insider tips and letting our community know the ways that they can make the most out of their time at this inaugural PTCDC event.
Thanks, Candace.
Thank you. And as everyone watching this, you'll see on your screen, we'll add in some information for you to learn more. So to get all the details to prepare for PTCDC, you can visit ptc.org/PTCDC. And during the conference week, especially on LinkedIn, please do feel free to use the hashtag PTCDC, as a lot of folks will be doing as well. So join in on the conversation there. And of course, you see this QR code rather on the screen to make it a little easier to get to the event page and find all the details details. There's still plenty of time for you to register. And we'll see you all there in just a few short weeks. And in the meantime, please do follow both JSA and PTC on LinkedIn to find out more about either of us, jsa.net, ptc.org. And of course, thank you for tuning in to another edition of Know Before You Go. As always, happy networking.